Hello, everyone. We are finally live. This is Matt and Team United in Malmo. ESC United is Roy,
Hello,
Melanie,
everyone.
Dave, and my camera's a little crooked here. How y'all doing?
We are doing well, Matt. We have just seen the qualifiers, as I'm sure you have. We watched it all together in the press center. Roy is over there, is editing the video right now.
It's
so that
literally rendering as we speak.
So everyone is going to be able to go and watch our reaction to the results after this. If you can hear the cheering in the background, that is the artists arriving at the press conference in the next room. So it's all action here. There's, we've got David over here. We have our colleagues from Aussie Vision also sat at this table, currently commiserating with
sad,
us. So,
trying to console her.
But I'm sure we'll talk about Australia and the rest of the songs in a minute. But it is the atmosphere in here. It's buzzing. It's busy. There's lots going on.
Were there a lot of gaspings going on, or was it just a lot of excitement with the results?
So I think for the most part, I think this mostly went as people expected. There were a couple that people were maybe not sure about. And as a result, there were a couple, and there was one that I was pretty certain was a goner. As a result, I think there were some moments that we were like, oh, wow. But I don't think we had quite the shock value that we've had maybe a couple of times before when we've lost some really big favorites, because I don't think that particularly happened tonight.
Yeah, I think there's only one. Well, we can talk through them real quick because there's some surprises, maybe, whether good or bad. We can talk about it. But the first country that qualified wasn't that Serbia? Serbia was the first one. I don't have
Yes.
the announcing order in front of me right now, but I think
Yes.
Serbia was the first one to announce.
Mm.
I think that set the stage a little bit because there was some uncertainty about Serbia potentially making it because of, you know, the energy of the song and the feel. But clearly the televoters disagreed. Tell me, Gabe, your thoughts, of course, and the feel overall.
I think the thing to remember is with this song is that Teya was always going to extract the maximum from it. It was really well performed. It was beautiful. The staging is very tender, and it does come after a song that is absolutely bombastic in Cyprus, and then another club banger immediately after it. So I do think the running order did help it out a lot this year by putting it in such stark contrast. But I think on the night for me, it was genuinely one of the strongest performances, and there are plenty of televoters out there who look for this kind of thing. It was the most gentle, the most tender song. It was not like the other ballads in the show either. So it had its own lane, it ran in it, and it did it perfectly, and that's why it qualified.
Okay, did you think, like, at that point when Serbia was announced, you're like, okay, there's one country that is certainly going to lose out. Did you think immediately could be Poland, could be another country? What did you think?
I got to be honest, I thought when I saw Serbia, one of my first thoughts was, well, that's curtains for Slovenia.
Yeah.
I didn't see, I've been thinking this all week long, I didn't see a way in which we had all of Portugal, Serbia, and Slovenia in the final. I think I had incorrectly made the assumption that Poland would continue its strong televote streak, and that would send it through.
Me too.
Because of that assumption, it meant there was no simulation I could think of in which all three of them went through without Cyprus flopping instead. And obviously that didn't happen. That left us with the actual shock of this, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But yes, Slovenia, I thought was like, oh, well, now Serbia's out, it's over for them. I was wrong, as I often am.
Yeah, well, I think this one particular, because I think we see when we get the full ranking results that they were like 2 spots in the semis that 4 countries or so were fighting for, 4 or 5. So I think, you know, they just made the cut, I think, but we'll see. Maybe they were way higher. By the way, people in the chat, we want to hear from you as well. As always, when you talk to us at ESC United. Liza is saying, wouldn't be surprised if Serbia qualified between 8th and 10th place. You think that's where it landed?
Well, I think it's likely because someone has to. But I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say that Cyprus and Serbia and Slovenia were the 3 closest to the edge. But yes, so I'm going to say yes. Sorry, my brain's still a bit frazzled. Bear with me.
I know
everyone.
all of it. Because there's a lot going on around you right now. Because I know the conference happening, and we should get the potential like draw of if they're going to be first, second half, as well as producer running thing, which most of them will be producer decision, but you know, some of them will get a more. The second country that was announced was I don't have it up. Portugal. Portugal was the second country to be announced. That was kind of one of those. Obviously, you know, we're not going to pretend to be shocked, but we're still relieved that they're through, right? It was a big response there.
Well, actually, I think this was one that was not a certainty at the start of the week. I think that it's a testament to. Well, they've just turned up some audio somewhere. I don't know if you can hear the pleasant music.
A little bit, but it's not too bad.
I've got the gain all the way down on the microphone to try and maximize the sound you can hear. So I'm also going to try and turn on some noise suppression if I can. Sorry about this.
It's not too bad.
Okay. I'm just going to press on. So Portugal, we should remember, the bookies had this right on the edge at the start of the week. It only became more certain after the rehearsals. I think once people saw the concept and saw that it worked on the Eurovision stage, that it had been well adapted, at that point, I did become pretty confident. So to be honest, yeah, I didn't really feel that surprised, but I was relieved because there was this little element of what if, again, with the ballads, having just seen Serbia as well, it's like, what if everyone who's in it for a ballad has gravitated in that direction? But yeah, so overall, not very surprised. What did you think?
No, same thing. I mean, I personally thought, just looking at the running order early on, and I thought this was, based on my personal prediction, was an obvious qualifier to me to begin with. I still have, you know, like, I don't know what's going to happen in the finals, but in terms of the semis, I felt like It was in the second half, closer to the end. There was nothing like that in there. I was afraid actually that Serbia could potentially suffer some loss of their points to like the likes of Portugal potentially, but thankfully there is room for more than one ballad in this day and age in the televote, because that was always our concern, that we always going to get Finland kind of songs the next few years because it's all just televote now. Clearly, it has shown there is a market for that out there, and I'm super happy about that. Portugal had to be in the finals for that reason. Not surprised, but certainly relieved, and everyone on our team thought it was going to qualify anyway, so not a big surprise. I think a pleasant surprise, not a shock, but a pleasant surprise, I think, is Slovenia, the third country. And I don't know about you, but that's what's like, okay, both Serbia and Slovenia threw 3 songs in. I was like, this is going to be interesting. That means Cyprus is out, or Poland is out, or Australia. So, I knew something was about to happen. I just didn't know what exactly. But I will say that even though I was worried that it wouldn't click with it, I always say it was a wonderful song, and the staging is actually quite appealing to me. I just always like the average ear doesn't usually go for this kind of music. So I'm thrilled once again. Televoters, I feel like this year they're really giving us a little bit to think about, that we underestimate them at times. So glad that it's through. It's well deserved, and I would love to hear from you, Gabe, and the reaction, of course, that what happened in the press center.
Of course. So I will say that for me, this is definitely the biggest miss of me for the season. Those of you who watched our rehearsal review video last night will have seen that I basically completely kiboshed any chance of this qualifying. I said it's not happening, there's no chance, and so on. So just something happening behind me. I completely kiboshed any chance of this going through. I was totally wrong. I honestly, after the show, I was a bit surprised still, because it still felt empty. It still felt like it didn't quite come alive in the final chorus like I wanted it to. So to be honest, I'm a bit surprised, and I'm a bit, a bit sort of lost to know how it happened. Like, respectfully, the performance was really well done. I just didn't feel it was strong enough on the night, and I do suspect that this may be a case of it sneaking through in 10th. With considerable support from the fact it had Serbia, it had Croatia in this semi-final. That will have helped it.
Yes, and they deserved it, of course. But what's interesting, I mean, we haven't gotten to Croatia yet, of course, but all 3 Baltic, I'm American, Balkan countries through. That's also a pleasant surprise, huh? That all 3 made it?
Well, yes, I think, it's, to be fair, we knew Croatia was going to get through. Yes. And I think Serbia always looked likely, but it was one of the sort of ones that was maybe in the in and out kind of, will it not? Slovenia is the real shock here. And I do actually think there is a few different countries.
Hello, everyone. If you want to see the reaction to us in the press center, it is up online on our YouTube channel already, because I work very hard sometimes.
Thank you.
So check it out if you want, but also keep the stream on, because you want to have two things at the same time. Yes.
I know you have 2 ears.
So check it out.
So yeah, no, I don't know what the problem is here. Okay. Go ahead, Gabe.
Thank you. Seriously, get that link. I want you all to make a mental note of that, because you're all going to need to watch that video as soon as you finished here. Now, everyone say thank you, Roy, in chat, for getting that done at incredible speed.
Thank you, Roy, in chat.
Matt made a terrible joke.
I made a dad joke.
Yeah, it was a dad joke. But so back to where we were. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the fact that all 3 qualified was partly due to the fact that all 3 were in one semi-final. Slovenia, if you remove Croatia and Serbia from the equation, I suspect would have struggled. Obviously, we'll see the results in full in just a few days' time, but that's my hunch at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was. Oops. Let's go for the others real quick, because I'm just going to get super noisy at some point. Ukraine, 4th country. Let's pretend to be shocked. Now, obviously. That one was, how did you feel? Like, I checked Twitter, the non-diehard fans, just the regulars, and it was pretty well received by just regular people, I think. So, what are your thoughts? Obviously, just duh.
I mean, yeah, this one was very much a kind of a, well, duh. Yeah, of course it qualified. We all knew that was going to happen. I thought the performance was good tonight. Didn't feel like I saw a winner. Felt like I saw a song that's definitely going to finish in the top 10 and probably in the top 5. Didn't felt like I saw a winner from Ukraine tonight. The one thing I'm having a problem with is the lack of connection between Jerry and the camera. There's a long period of time from towards the end of the first verse onwards where there's a lot of wide shots. Obviously, she's up on the prop, but that in itself also feels a little strange because that high vocal was one of the few things that this had to separate the final minute of the song from the first minute, because it sort of, in my opinion, it doesn't quite elevate at the end in that way. But because they spent that opportunity earlier, it meant that there was even less differentiation. So in my opinion, going to the high notes in the first chorus meant that this had an even flatter slope than it already did. So it's going to do really well, but I think we didn't see a winner tonight from Ukraine.
Yeah, I never considered Ukraine to be a winner, to be fair. And Iron Das GR is saying, from your descriptions, I expected more from Ukraine. It was underwhelming. I will say this. I think it's underwhelming if you don't connect emotionally with the song. And I think that's kind of what happened to me as well. Like, I can appreciate the staging. I'm not sure when you say it's underwhelming. It looked amazing, all these effects and the colors and the change in style between the rapper and the lead singer, how they switched, like, just the feel of it. And the way she grabbed her microphones when the rap starts, that was a cool moment as well. But if you don't click with it, I think this was a great staging. So I don't necessarily think that I would criticize the staging, except for the fact that I just cannot get over always looking at the wheels of the ram, because they're just always so visible. They should have put some smoke on the ground or something like that. But that is just me getting a little bit distracted by it. So you're thinking it's going to be a definite top 10, potentially top 5, but not a winner?
Yeah, that's my feeling. I mean, it's still in. If I had to sort of make a group of 5 or 6 that could win, I would say it's still not impossible, but I think the chances are pretty small, in my opinion, after today.
Yeah. See, but also this proves, by the way, since we're talking about the first 5 songs all qualifying, why bother about the running order, folks at EBU? See, it can happen. They don't cancel each other out if they're good. That's just me. Another plug there. But anyways, Lithuania. The obvious qualifiers. Well, everyone on the team believed this would qualify. And once again, I just keep a close eye on people reacting to it on Twitter who are usually not like, they just see it for the first time. And also big response for Lithuania, which is a pleasant surprise because I think it's a good song, but I don't know how like the masses will work with a song in a foreign language. It's just upbeat, and it seems they had a very positive response as well. So I am not surprised to see go through, obviously, even without that. And how was it where you were, Gabe?
Well, I think, we got exactly what we expected from Lithuania. It gets people on their feet. It's, it's a club banger. It's the same staging that we also saw in the national final. And because of that, the result was exactly what we expected as well. This is actually the one I was thinking just before I came on, sort of trying to think about what to say about each song. This one, I was like, oh, well, I don't know what to say, because we got exactly what we expected, like from the staging, from the vocals. The crowd responded well. People responded well. We knew that was going to happen. It qualified. We knew that was going to happen. So basically, I think in that situation, all you can really do is say well done to the Lithuanian delegation for a job well done, because they've come with a concept and they've executed it. And I think they're on for a good result. Top 15 is on lock, I hope. Maybe a little higher. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And they've kind of been like that the last few years, left side of the scoreboard, even when they're slightly underestimated, but they kind of know what they're doing, it seems like it. They need, and it's only a matter of time until they're in the top 5, because their best result today is still a 6th place. And I feel like that one needs to be beat, because I don't want We Are the Winners to be Lithuania's number 1, for forever, their best entry. Yeah, people are saying, did you notice it as well? That some vocals were lower than others, like the sound? Because, Poland is the obvious one, but it's something delegations decide also as well. It was not a sound mixing issue anymore, because Poland had a pretty weird sound going on, and there were some others as well. Did you notice that on your end, or did it sound okay?
Honestly, I didn't notice that massively. There were a couple of times when I was like, it felt like they were maybe giving a little more than last year in terms of, sorry if my thoughts are a bit scattered, by the way. I now have the press conference in my ear, so it's total,
I get it. I've been there.
But yeah, so the some of the songs, like for example, the chorus in Slovenia was mostly backing track. Like she was doing the Radime, 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 those lines, but the whole rest of it underneath was obviously backing track. But that felt a bit weird. It feels like they're being a little more liberal with it this year than they were last year, because I think we all remember that the second half of Cha 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 was really quite breathy, and a lot of that was because he had less cover than he did at UMK. So he clearly had to sort of step up his ground a little bit. So I think the answer is yes. They're definitely letting people lean on it a little bit more this year. But I actually think also it's partly just the fact that this show is better produced than last year's was. So you have both going on there.
The next country on the list was obviously Finland. Nobody shocked, and it's love or hate with Finland when it comes to it. People are asking in the chat as well. I see you. I cannot address everything, but that there were still some camera issues in terms of they're trying to cover certain parts of his body, which was already significantly better what we've seen in rehearsals, according to my observation. But there were still moments where you knew that he wasn't naked on stage. So I think there's room for improvement. But I don't think that is necessarily the biggest make or break situation anyways. The people get the idea what they're trying to get accomplished. People know he's not naked. So I don't think anyone expects him to be naked on stage to begin with. But I understand from a perfectionist perspective that they want to get that accomplished for sure. But once again, it was the party song, and looking at some of the reactions, it was a very strong burn the witch, or really give it a high score. It was now middle room for this one, which is exactly kind of what you want at Eurovision. What's going to happen in the finals? We know it's probably not going to. The juries will be there, so it's a different hurdle, but this is not a surprise to me. And I actually still have that stupid melody stuck in my head. I can't help it. Gabe, your thoughts?
Well, I think Ireland really delivered tonight. Everyone who I've spoken to about it thought it was
Finland, you mean?
Finland, sorry. Yeah, I don't know why I got onto Ireland there. Again, it's like I said, I've got Silia Kapsis is talking behind me. You can see, but there's a screen over there.
Is she the first one to talk, or is it are they going in order of announcement?
Yeah, they'll go in order of announcement. So Finland, I thought it was funny. It felt like people got the joke tonight. It was meant to be a silly bit of fun, and that was what was delivered. The backing track, the fact that it's a sort of slightly dated piece of Eurodance, but a strong piece of Eurodance, I think actually adds to that. I really loved some of the silly gags. Like my favorite one was probably the one light sticking up from the stage and him standing behind it. So it was really funny. And to be honest, I think now we've seen it on TV. I think a few people who were doubting it before will maybe say, okay, I get it. It's a bit of silly fun. There we go.
So somebody's saying, is that accurate? First half will be Ireland, Lithuania, and Luxembourg. Second half will be Cyprus, Finland, and Slovenia. And producer's choice, Croatia, Portugal, Serbia, and Ukraine. Have they announced it behind you, or did they do that before they went on stage?
Let me check with Mel and come back to you. I'll be 1 sec.
Okay. So I'm waiting on Gabe to come back. We already talked about Finland. Cyprus was number 7, and that's where I was like, okay, Cyprus, Serbia, Slovenia, and that's where it dawned to me it would be either Poland or Luxembourg, and I figured it would be Poland over Luxembourg going out. Gabe, you back?
Hi, our fantastic team is just checking now. But so if we come back to that in 2 minutes, once I have an answer.
Okay.
And continue for the meantime.
It's on Reddit, somebody's saying. So that's what. Okay.
It's on Reddit, is it? Okay. We've got correspondent Popescu is going to come back with an answer shortly.
The draw happened on Reddit apparently while we were coming online.
We have we had a list. Could you put the list back on screen, and then I can just get them to confirm, because we had it on screen a minute ago. I just need to get them to confirm if it was right.
It's already gone. I need to. Oh, there it is.
Okay. So first half of grand final, Ireland, Lithuania, Luxembourg. Second half, Cyprus, Finland, Slovenia. Producer's choice, Croatia, Portugal, Serbia, Ukraine. Is that correct? That was super fast. Producer's choice, Croatia, Portugal, Serbia, Ukraine.
I trust my listeners.
Yeah. Croatia and Ukraine.
No, they don't want to trust you yet. How dare they?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, it's what we say it is. It's what we thought it was.
It's legit.
They already drawn.
All right.
Yeah. The draws.
Really?
Yeah. Check with them. Sorry, yes. So that was correct. But I think, should we talk about that once we've gone through all the songs and then come back to that?
Yes. I was just giving my thoughts on Cyprus. Like, Cyprus was another one. They're announced because I was like, okay, once they are announced, I was like, okay. The only ones I could see potentially missing out, I knew it wasn't Croatia, I knew it wasn't Ireland, that potentially Luxembourg and Poland could be in danger. That was my mind. But like, there's no way that Luxembourg is out. So I knew, like, okay, Poland is toast at that moment, I assumed. And what did you think?
Oops, sorry, I had myself on mute there for a second. Yeah, I pretty much agree with your assessment. There was a point where I was looking at it and thinking, I think that this is, that this is curtains. I think I have to say, credit to Silia Kapsis. I thought she was a lot better this evening.
Yes, that was her best performance, I think.
This was the strongest. Both the execution in terms of the choreo and so on, and the vocals were the strongest. Having the audience in helped a lot.
She blanched us, is what I call it. I was going to say she blanched us a little because she was not as strong this entire time.
So, because to be honest, I had this out as well. I had this out as well, and I can see now that, to be honest, if I'd seen this performance yesterday morning, I would have gone, well, it's through. And when I saw it tonight, I was like, well, that's I've gone down from 10 out of 10 there. So yeah, all I can really do is say credit where credit is due. She pulled it out of the bag when it mattered, and I think that bodes well for the final now as well, because she's done it once. And when you don't have too much experience, that's going to give you so much more confidence now to go on.
Yes.
And really smash it in the final. So I think we could see something even better on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. So no, I agree with you. Excuse me. And then not a shock. I thought it was more interesting that they kept some of the favorites closer to the end. The announcement, Croatia, the 8th country to be announced. I mean, we all knew at that point Croatia and Ireland were safe. So I mean, I still was relieved, maybe, but not really. But what a great moment for Croatia. I have a feeling that, I mean, his betting odds were going up to like 35%, like really shortening like a lot. I can only imagine this one even going bigger as well as Ireland. What do you think?
I watched this and thought, this is like watching a rock star. Like,
yes,
I have to say tonight, I thought that Croatia was the best by miles. I really thought, seeing that performance with that audience, it went up to a whole new level. It was stunning. It was absolutely stunning, and I just cannot credit I cannot credit Baby Lasagna enough for having come from, think about what those Dora performances were like, breathy, anxious, within himself, and now he's morphed into this incredible performer. I think we saw the winner of Eurovision tonight, and it's Croatia. I previously predicted Switzerland, but having seen this, I don't see how anyone can beat this. It was like watching a rock star. That's how I felt.
I get so excited. Like, I'm getting little goosebumps right now. I don't want to. Let's not put ourselves into the mindset just yet. I'm not ready. I want to put up the comment. Apparently, Sarah-san is saying that Krista said he thinks 6 songs can win this year, and he'll make sure to make them shine. Like, he should not be the arbiter of what can or should win and base the running order based on that. That really pisses me off, actually. I'm like, so if he thinks Croatia is not a winner, then what? Like in his mind. So that is not what I like.
It literally, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's funny. Someone in chat said, Gabe, you are never right. It's funny because I remember last year saying the whole season that Cha 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 would get 350 to 380 in the televote. No one else said that. I was right.
Yeah, it's like it's
anyway.
About, it's always we're the ones on record.
Anyway, no, I think that, to be honest, it doesn't matter where you put Rimton and Tagi Dim. I mean, they're not going to put it right at the start for obvious reasons. But you put this anywhere, it'll outshine whatever is around it. There's literally no way you can put it that it won't shine. Like, it will work anywhere. That's how good this performance is. I'm just so excited to see it in the final because, again, this is somebody who we have seen grow with every performance they've given. And for that reason, I think we're going to see it even better on Saturday night. And just iron out, they'll get a tiny chance to maybe just alter literally just a few fractions of a second on a few camera shots. I was really happy they fixed the one at the start of the dance break. You now see him much, much sooner, whereas during the rehearsals, you were stuck behind the drum kit for a few seconds. It's getting better and better every time we see it. This was his best performance. He's growing into it as time goes on. Saturday is going to be really special, and I think Croatia is going to be the winner, which is
And I think they're going to put
exciting.
Croatia late now because they're producer's choice. So Croatia will most likely be second half anyways. Worst case scenario, late first half. So I don't anticipate that happening. And was there any moment, Gabe, when we are up to qualifier number 9 that Ireland potentially could not make it? Or, you're like, stop trolling us. We all know the answer.
I knew it was so obvious. I mean, come on. I was sat there. Like, I'm not nervous for this at all. When it got to 8 and we were sat there, myself, and you'll see this in video, myself and Roy and the rest of the team were sat there basically saying, well, what's the third one? We know what 2 of them are going to be. What's the third one? It was obvious. The performance was stunning. You have all now seen why we've been raving about Bambie the last few days. This was incredible. I think it's one of the, in terms of this kind of staging, it's one of the best examples that we've seen in recent years. It is a textbook of how to elevate in every element of your performance. And this was, again, Bambie's best performance yet. So glad that Ireland is back to the final, and hopefully it will trigger a mentality shift in Ireland about Eurovision in future too.
That's exactly what I was going to say as well. Yeah. And someone saying Ireland seems to be more polarizing than Finland. You may be right, but what I think in terms of more polarizing is I do see that more people are on one side as in like, this was something out of this world versus the negativity, while Finland is a little bit more split, I think, which I think me personally gives Ireland the edge by quite a bit. So I can see what you're saying, but I think it's actually more towards one side than the other. What do you think, Gabe? Is that a fair assessment that this is more polarizing?
I think I think while this is probably more polarizing than Finland, and I did see plenty of people being like, "Oh, it's terrible. Oh, I'm scared." Yada yada yada. Yammering along about it. As the comment you've just highlighted says, it's dominating the view count on the YouTube channel right now.
Yes.
It draws attention to itself. People want to see it again. People, will be fascinated by it. And I think some of those people who didn't like it tonight may see it again at the weekend and change their minds. I think it evokes much stronger feelings than Finland does in a positive direction as well. I think that's where things come good, because Finland, the positive direction is people being like, oh, that's a good time. That's really fun. I enjoyed that a lot. The positive end for this peaks out to, oh my God, this is incredible. It's amazing. Basically where me and Roy are. So I think, this will finish way ahead of Finland in the final, in my opinion.
Yes, no, I think you're absolutely right. I thought initially that Ireland would be the last country to be announced, like early on. And then I forget that Luxembourg is still in the running, because I'm like, it only makes sense to have Luxembourg be the last one announced being back after all these years. So once Ireland was announced, I mean, my mind was either Luxembourg or Poland, but I'm like, it's going to be Luxembourg. There's no way. So I was not falling out of my chair when I heard Luxembourg. I was happy. I was glad they deserved to qualify. It was a fantastic vocal performance, and it just looked right. People act because, there was a little bit more like, it's an okay song, and it's not like the most innovative song that we've seen at Eurovision in terms of like melody or arrangement. But a lot of people online actually really, really liked it. So I think it has a huge likability factor. Now, I will say Luxembourg now drew first half, so I can smell early running order for them actually. And I could see an Austria 23 or Czechia 22 kind of moment, but that's okay. They made it to the finals, rightfully so. We have them back. It's about darn time. And I just didn't want them to withdraw after a non-qualification right away. Your thoughts about Luxembourg, the last one being announced, Gabe?
I did think, definitely, having seen that in Poland, I had it slightly over Poland, but I thought they were going to both go. I thought they were both going to go through. I think they made the changes that they needed to make in terms of basically getting Tali to dance less.
That's a funny comment. I was want to. Luxembourg has now 100% qualification rate now. They're tied with Ukraine. You can't argue with that, Gabe. It's the truth.
And there we go. And they'll have a 100% 23rd place in the final rate after Saturday as well. Because
anyways, go ahead. Sorry,
they're absolutely going to kill this. The running order gods, whoever they are absolutely going to kill this in the final. It'll be in the first 5 or 6 songs. Can somebody please get rid of that Suman Rao guy who keeps self-promoting, please? I don't know if there's a moderator in chat. I can't do it from here, so someone else can.
Okay,
he keeps posting the same thing over and over. So it's going to be early. I think they made the change they need to. Doing less dancing for Tally was good. Changing the costume was good. This vibe matches the song much better now. At the same time, it's going to be outshined in the final. There's so many stronger songs and similar stronger songs. Not least the fact that now, having seen that and seen Cyprus to the other end of the semi, Cyprus was a lot better tonight, and I think it was a lot more fun and a lot more engaging. So it's going to go early. It's going to probably get forgotten a little bit, but ultimately they have reached a point where they can say this year has been a success, no matter what happens. They've made it to the final, and for a first year back, that should be the limit of their expectations.
Yeah, and it's a good first bar, then they can build on that over the next year to 20 years, whatever it may be. But I'm just very happy. Let's talk quickly about the non-qualifiers, and, see, Poland, I think, is the one that is the biggest surprise. I'm not surprised. I mean, maybe a little. Let me explain. So if it was only a different country, I would have potentially had Poland out, but Poland has been known to have huge support in diaspora. And especially this one was very friendly towards Poland. I mentioned Lithuania, Germany, UK, Ireland, you name it. But clearly they were not as loyal, fortunately, in that sense, because, it's always unfortunate if a song that's not that well liked only qualifies because of that particular support. But I will say, and I like the song very much, it was so hard to really pay attention to everything that's going on stage because the vocals were so uncomfortable to me. And it was even one of her weaker performances on top of it. So anything that happened on stage tonight almost didn't matter because it was just not enjoyable to listen to. The backup track was like off with her voice because she was probably singing even lower than usual. And it was just, when I listened to it, I'm like, if it was, this would not qualify. And sure enough, that is what happened. The only song from the first half not to make it. So yeah, it's unfortunately really bad for Poland. But I'm not shocked after all of this, unfortunately. What do you think, Gabe?
I agree. I mean, I wasn't shocked. I thought, like you, that the diaspora would still see it through. But this performance was just not strong enough. The staging concept, it was too much of everything, everywhere, all the time. I thought the horse thing looked naff. I didn't really like that. And, people are pointing out being around songs like Ukraine, Croatia, so on, similar parts of the half, is going to hurt it. And I think potentially it did. It was just too much of everything all the time, as has been the case for Poland a few times in recent years. And I think this was coming. I think it's unfortunate because if the song had been performed to its potential, we could have seen them through. But her vocal was so thin and so weak tonight that it put her in trouble, and she's faced the consequences of that.
Yeah. And plus, yes, the stage, even whatever you may think, even if you like the staging like myself or you didn't, the point is there were so many visual performances right before and after. We had Ireland, UK, and we can talk about the vocals, but visually it was, there, and so for Croatia right after. So it was just a lot, and I think they were just overshadowed in the end, unfortunately. And if there would have been the second half, maybe we would have a different conversation now, but that's just not the reality that we live in. What other country is out? Australia was by some people considered to be in contention. It was our borderline non-qualifier with ESC United. I thought that it's funny. I have always, my opinion about Australia changed by the dress rehearsal. In the first one, I'm like, they're out. Then I listened to the second one. Oh, they're in. I listened to today. Oh, now they're out. It's weird. Sometimes the energy worked for me and sometimes it didn't. And maybe it's really just in the mood that I was in that particular time, or the other performances just were more remarkable. I don't know what it was. It's one of those, I cannot put my finger on it. But I was not shocked, disappointed for them because, electric fields are amazing. But as I said before, it really feels like Australia did not put much effort into a lot of the promotion, the staging, even the song selection. And unfortunately, it showed tonight. And I'm bummed out because we all love Australia. And I hope this will not discourage them to return next year. But yeah, this is the end of the road for the country down under. Your thoughts, Gabe?
I have a similar assessment to you. I think by the time it got to this show, I was like, it's not happening. I think it was the problem with this all along has been that it is disjointed. It was a bit disjointed in the way it's staged. It's disjointed in the way it's written. Sadly, they fell victim to that tonight. I will say, with them and the remaining qualifiers, I did think they were the ones that we haven't talked about. Did think they were all finished. Like as soon as the show was done, I was like, well, there's only 11 songs here that I could see maybe, and even then, Slovenia, I was barely, clinging on to. It was not strong enough, and I think I have the same frustration as you. This is a supremely talented pair of people that have not, I think, reached their potential in this competition. I do think Australia is going to keep coming back. They've had a non-qualification before and they got over it and they came back and did something really exciting last year. Let's hope we see the same again. But for this year, I think this one was coming.
Yes, I agree with you. Not that we were hoping for it, but it's just a reality. Then the other 3 songs that didn't make it, I think putting Iceland and Moldova in the same, but I mean, neither of us, anyone has like Iceland or Moldova as a qualifier. Like it was more like DOA, right? Is that fair to say for you as well? There was not even like what you saw today. Nothing really changed your mind, correct?
Yeah, these songs had, they were pretty weak songs with static staging that didn't elevate them, and there was never any chance for either of them. I think I have an immense amount of respect for both of these artists as, second-time Eurovision performers, and they extracted the most from their songs in terms of their vocal performance. They both sounded really good, in my opinion, on the TV. I didn't have headphones in, so maybe if someone was listening with headphones, I could have been wrong. It sounded good. They did what they could, but it was just there was nothing they could have done to put themselves in contention with staging like this, and all they could do was do themselves proud in terms of their performance on the night. And I think they did that, but it was never going to happen.
Yeah. And then it's unfortunate because I think these are the 2 only returning artists, right, this year, if I'm not mistaken. So they're both we're dead on arrival, and unfortunately now not unfortunate. I mean, I'm happy for all the new artists as well, but we all love a little bit nostalgia and root for the ones that are returning, but yeah, just an interesting little side fact here. And then the last one we have not mentioned is Azerbaijan. I thought, there is a market for that song out there, often the more ethnic influence songs, but I saw it tonight and I was like, no. There was so much awkward pauses, especially in the beginning of the song. Fahree is his name. It was just like, he's like, And he was just standing there. I'm like, what is going on? Did his earpiece break? Are they starting over? It was so awkward to watch. And that energy was in the negatives to me tonight. And they had better performances. I don't know what happened. I'm not saying they would have qualified with the performances before, but this was to me probably the weakest run through that I have seen. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is their ass is grass, basically. And I was just sad because I really like the song. I actually do like the song. I know you're not the biggest fan, but it's just the reality. Are you surprised?
Not at all. I mean, I thought the performance tonight, I thought it was quite dull, to be honest. It didn't really grab me. And I think the staging concept, it didn't really feel like, we sometimes say, it doesn't feel like a Eurovision song, but in a positive way. I didn't feel like a Eurovision song in a kind of a negative way. I saw someone compare it to royalty-free music, which is extraordinarily harsh, but illustrates the point that it was just not distinctive enough. There is a market for this kind of music, but for strong examples of it, and I don't think this is a strong example of it at this point. I think Lisa, by the way, you've just put the comment on screen, dead right, but I'll let you talk about it.
Well, no, because she's saying I think Azerbaijan came last in the semi because if not anything else, Natalia and Hera sold the hell out of their songs. That is a very valid point. I think Azerbaijan undersold their song. I am not sure. I mean, I'm trying to think who would have voted for Azerbaijan. It's not a very Azerbaijan-friendly semi to begin with. I mean, maybe Ukraine, they've gotten a few points potentially. But besides that, I don't see guaranteed points for them. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know who would vote for Moldova either, though. I mean, she was certainly a lot more energy-wise on top of her game. But I still think Azerbaijan has a stronger song than Moldova. But that is all subjective right now. What do you think, Gabe?
I think Azerbaijan probably would be my pick to come last. I think just on the basis that the vocal performance was so strong from those other two. We're talking literally like single-digit points for all of them, I think, here. So, but I think it might just have been enough to get Hera a 1 here and there, and Natalia the same. Azerbaijan, it's going to be a low single digits finish, I think, this year.
Okay. People are asking, so just say one. You cannot say or. You can only pick one, and we're not bounded. It's just a guess right now, right? Who came first and who came 10th in this semi, you think?
I think Croatia came first, and I'm going to say that Slovenia came 10th.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing, so I'll just switch up a little. I think Ireland came first, but we'll see. But I still also think Slovenia came 10th. That would be my guess as well, but I would have kind of guessed the same thing. But you may be right about Croatia. I think, and you know how I'm obsessed I am with Ireland. I think Croatia just has the right sound for Eurovision that is a whole lot less polarizing, and so I do think it probably, now thinking as I'm thinking it out loud, maybe change my mind to Croatia now. Never mind, I'm convinced myself otherwise. I'll copy you, Croatia as well in first and Slovenia in last, but I would be super happy if it was Ireland, of course. So we'll see. Any question that anyone has at ESC United? Is there anything that you've heard in the background in the conference, anything important or that's floating around, or just nothing going on?
Honestly, I've not been able to get a hold of anything because obviously I've been focusing on you. It's mostly just been really distracting.
I'm sorry to be distracting you.
No, not you. You're the good bit. The conference is distracting. But so we'll check on that later.
Yes, that's okay. So now that we know Croatia, Ukraine, and what other country was on direct producer's choice? That was the third one. I don't remember. But I think Ukraine and Croatia are the two most competitive efforts, I will say. Do you have any idea where the producers will put it? I have my theories, but some of them are more conspiracy theories because, they have so much power. I personally think Croatia's going to get second half, probably around 18 to 22nd. And Ukraine will be like 5th or 6th in the running order.
I would say so. I think the thing is, it's like I said before, I think Croatia can go anywhere because it will outshine whatever's next to it. I personally think they'll put both of these sort of after 10th place. They'll put them in a place where the running order will not massively impact their overall result. I think they'll be relieved to have had the favourites, as we discussed, Krista Björkman's comments. They'll be relieved to have the favourites in a position where everyone where they can move them around as they need to. But yeah, I think for Croatia, I think it's definitely what Croatia needed. They were hoping for producers or second half, and it just makes the case stronger for them.
Yes. And the rest, Ireland, Lithuania, Luxembourg, their first half. As we said, Luxembourg will be an early running order. Ireland, I still think between 10 and 13, and Lithuania could be anywhere, I think, in the first half. Is that kind of how you feel as well?
Well, I'm worried they're going to screw over Lithuania by putting them first. But given they went so early in the semi-final, you'd hope they'd give them something slightly later. Yeah.
Cannot be first. Sweden is first.
Oh, good point. Second then, or third.
Yeah. That's
but
two
I hope
they're too similar in style. They're not going to be second.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they did in the semi-final do the banger ballad banger opening. So there's no reason why they could not. But I would really, really hope that they will move them further back to 9th, 10th, 11th, whatever. Give them a bit more of a shot because they have such a good chance of getting a high result this year. And it would be such a shame if the running order denied them that.
Yes. Those are three loosely call those three bangers, meaning more upbeat, non-ballads, mid-tempo. None of them are mid-tempo songs, that's what I'm saying. So more ballads. So they're like faster songs. The second half for sure is Cyprus, Finland, and Slovenia. So two upbeat songs, one slower song. That I still think Finland, they will put early in the running order in terms of like 14th, 15th kind of thing. I don't think they want to have that one too close, unless they think it's a fun banger closing the show, but I think it's too polarizing for that. I could Cyprus see closing the show, actually. Actually, now that
I think Finland is more of a closer than Cyprus, to be honest. I think
but Finland is a little bit too polarizing for a closer, I think, but I could be wrong.
I think it's a silly end of the night. Let's let loose. This is why it was at the end of the running order in UMK. because it does kind of work for that kind of song. You have a big party with something silly, once everyone, because by that point, everyone's had a few drinks, everyone's loosened up, right? Everyone's seen some things they like, some things they don't. So you might as well throw a silly thing in at the end. And so I actually think it would be, from a production point of view, a quite smart idea to put Finland 26th in this show.
Yeah. No, I think that too. And then the other ones, Portugal is producer's choice, and Serbia. I could see them popping up anywhere as well, because these are slower songs that they put where they need to be. Even though Krista Björkman said there are only 3 ballads this year, I'm like, did you even look? So I think they could end up anywhere in the running order. What do you think?
Totally agree. They'll put them where they're needed. I think they could go pretty much anywhere. It wouldn't surprise me to see one of the 3 ballads that qualified this evening second, to provide a slightly different energy after Marcus and Martinez, but we'll see.
Let's talk really quick about the top big 5 performances. We have the first one of the night, UK. And, I love you, Gabe, and I love the song. It's in my top 10. I've been saying throughout the rehearsals, it just doesn't sound right, his vocals. And I got a little bit heat for that I'm being overly critical. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I thought it was really bad tonight. It was, and I saw comments on Twitter agreeing with me. It looks so good. Like, visually, it's so much fun, and I want the UK to do well. But I'm at a similar point as I was with Poland. I'm like, those vocals are too distracting. I have a hard time enjoying the rest of the performance for that reason. Thank you. Oh, Stefan, I know this gentleman. Serbia and Portugal both through producer's choice. Should they be put in second and first half, respectively, as they performed vice versa in semi? Let me ask this real quick for you, just a short answer, Gabe. Do you think they will take that into account, the semi running order for these, or not really?
In a word, no. I think, like you said, they'll put them where they need them. If you need them both in one half, then they'll do that. They'll go where they have to go.
Yeah,
and that could be anywhere.
Yeah, I think so too. Going to the UK, Gabe, what are your thoughts?
I'm worried about the vocal, like you are. I do think the staging is very... Excuse me. I do think the staging is really interesting, really exciting, and I think it does catch the eye. I think we should point out a couple of people have pointed this out in chat. His battery pack fell off partway through the performance, so he had to carry it, which is obviously not ideal.
Yeah.
I think give this one a bit more time. I didn't think, on first listen, it was not great, but it was fine, it felt okay. If the vocal is passable, then the staging will carry it to a mid-table finish, and that's what I think will be good for the UK.
Yeah, I hope so too. And he could pull his Silia from Cyprus and really sounds much better when it counts. Tonight, it didn't count that much, or at all, technically. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I was just very concerned about the performance, but I just love the staging. I'm just like, this is next level, and we should always applaud that as well. And the song to me is great anyways. So figure out those vocals, and I'm way more optimistic. Germany, what do you think about Germany?
I think I don't understand why there's fire for the entire performance, and then in the last 30 seconds, it disappears. Like, you've built up the fire, and then it's all gone away at the key moment. Why isn't there more? Like, if you're going to go all in on the pyro, then go all in on the pyro. So that struck me as a bit of an odd choice. I think this is very much a song for juries, a song that will do all right on the basis that the juries are going to hand it some points. It's the sort of thing a lot of jurors will put it as like their 7th favourite. And because of that, it'll sneak in getting 2, 3 from a lot of different countries. And as a result, have a decent score. He did what he needed to do. I have no concerns about him vocally, the staging. He executes the concept. I just think there's some problems with the concept itself. So honestly, given their usual standards, this is going to be a decent result for Germany, but it's not indicative of them doing things well. They do need to change just about everything still.
Yes. And I totally see where you're coming from, because I still think Germany is in for a treat when it comes to the juries. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be top 10, but I think they're going to get up 50 up, which is a treat for them. So I do believe the juries will prevent a Germany last place. And I don't know what's going to happen with the televoters. That is too early. I oftentimes, have an appreciation. My taste, I said, not the last couple of years, but often lines up with the jury vote often. That's why I actually was absolutely into what he did today. was getting me a little bit, because the way he was singing, he was not singing really to the camera. I get that, but he was very passionate the way he sang the notes, and there was like a lot of oomph behind it. And he didn't have that before. And I really, really loved how passionate he was about his vocals and singing. He sounded fantastic. He needs to connect more with the camera still. That's my only thing, and not make us turn off. He sometimes leaves us out of the whole experience, and that's not good for a TV show. But I loved how much oomph he put into his singing and energy, and I was absolutely here for that. I still not saying it's going to be left out of the scoreboard. I just, when the goal for Germany is right now to avoid bottom 5, I think. And can they do it? Yes, but they're still in there, in terms of potential. So I like what I saw though today. Again, I enjoyed it actually. And last but not least, Sweden. I don't have much opinion. It's exactly what we've seen before in Melfest, what we've seen. This is just very slick, very, very like it's ready, and you either like it or you won't click with it. So I think that sounded good. What do you think?
Just they execute. They're very professional. They do what they did in Melfest. It'll do well. There's not really any comments because everything was on point. So again, much like Lithuania, they've brought a concept, they've executed it, and it'll get them a good result. And that's as far. But for me, that's just about all I have to say on it.
Yes. And somebody's saying, so it looks like contest semifinals are completely okay without juries. Well, depends on your definition. The definition is, what kind of songs you want. If we're going to end up with, Dustin the Turkey performances in 2 years only, then you wish the jury's back, so it's not just about early running orders. And keep in mind, data still shows, even the semis, early running orders are a disadvantage, even if you make the cut, because all you need to do is be in the top 10. Let's use Norway last year, King of Queens, as an example. I think she came 6th or 7th in her semi with 15 countries, and then she came 3rd in the grand final with 26 countries when she was closer to the end. So there are still impact of the running order. It's maybe less impactful in the semis for that reason, because all you have to do is squeeze into the top 10 rather than just winning and all of that stuff. But I still want the juries on because certain songs are just not catered to that kind of music.
Matt, just quickly, I can see the press conference is finished. I can see our colleagues from Eurovision. Obviously, this is a big night for them. I'm going to try and flag them down because it'd be great to hear from them briefly. One sec, I'm going to sort of wave frantically. 1 second. Connor, he's not listening. Connor Devlin. Okay, we have a special guest here. Connor Devlin from Eurovision.
Hello.
How are you feeling? This is a big night for you.
Voice.
Are you crying?
Over the moon. They left us 8. Like, don't
We
do that
all
to
knew
me.
it was coming, though. We all knew it was.
It's Ireland. You can never do that
it
to
was
us.
100% said. What do you think this means? I know you've got a lot going through your mind. Very briefly, what do you think this means for Ireland in the contest going forward?
It has to be the renaissance for Ireland. It has to be. We're on the momentum, now. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be the start of something. Don't take this for granted, because a lot of this was Bambie, but the team now knows how it feels to, qualify and do well. We could do well on Saturday. Like, what's going on? And hashtag crown the witch. Crown the witch.
I'm wearing your shirt.
I need a glass of water, but
Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you, guys.
appreciate you. And Matt appreciates it too. Thank you so much. And congratulations.
Oh, that's like the best feeling, when
Just to sum up the emotion of the press center. And there's just everywhere I look, there are delighted people with Irish flags, many of whom are Irish. So yeah, sorry. Continue.
No, that's exactly, I missed that part, because there are lots of people, they're professionals throughout the day, and then at night they become fans. And that is just a wonderful thing to witness. And it happens every year. I remember when Portugal did so well and then they won. That was just an amazing feeling in the press center. Which one do you? Well, you weren't in the press center all the time when the celebration started, actually. So
No, I've never. This is the first time I've been in a press center during the results. And so this is all lots of new experiences for me. But it's amazing to see, like, the joy in this room is palpable, and it's really, really a beautiful thing.
Yes. People are asking where the reaction from the press center was posted. Well, it's only our team that has the reaction right now, because there is is the press center segregated again between like fan media and the rest of the media?
No, it's one big room. There's
one big
different
room now?
zones for people to sit in, but it's one big room.
Okay, well, that is nice. That's great. The Serbian broadcaster moved half of Poland, Iceland, Croatia to broadcast on its second channel. Who knows if Poland could have made it if the audience would have properly seen it? I don't know. I mean,
Maybe.
that's all speculation. No answer to.
I'll be back on.
Oh, okay. So this that's. I hope the Irish delegation learns the lesson they should have learned with Ryan O'Shaughnessy. Let the artist take creative control. That is the most important thing that I want to point out as well. That the artist needs to be having the connection to the song. When you just write a song and then pick random artists, more often than not all the time, but oftentimes, that is failure. Netherlands was an example last year. Yes, I know Duncan Lawrence wrote the song. Then they just picked two singers that they thought would be good, whatever, and it just doesn't click. There needs to be the connection there, and they know the song. That's why Duncan Lawrence did so well with Arcade. That was his song. It was suited for his vocals and his personality and everything beyond. So that is hopefully what Ireland is going to learn, and hopefully go away from that god-awful national final setup. It's atrocious. It's embarrassing. And we're saying it every year, and they're not listening. Upsetting. You're nodding? Everything all right over there?
Yep, all sorted now. So a couple of things that we'll talk about afterwards, but everything's okay.
Oh, okay. Got it. So when we get the voting, you're not going to get any voting results tonight. The actual semi-results will be available after the grand final, like first thing Sunday morning. So as soon as the show is over, they will be released. And I want you to know, who came 10th place and who came first, which I am very much excited about. So we think you got to call tonight anyway soon. Gabe, what are you looking forward to tomorrow when the semi 2 participants rehearse for the first time? Not rehearsal, but the first rehearsal.
I think tomorrow's going to be a really interesting day when it comes to the participants of semi-final 2. I'm obviously really looking forward to my friends in Estonia. I was on Estonian TV this evening talking about how much I love that song. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Nemo perform The Code. I think there is an obvious elephant in the room with semi-final 2. I think seeing how the crowd will respond to that will be very telling.
Very fair.
And so I'm sure we'll be able to discuss a bit about how the crowd reacts to that over the streams in the next couple of days, as and when it's relevant within the context of our,
We love Roy's strip show in the back, by the way.
Oh, is he? Oh, Roy.
Yeah, we saw you lifting his shirt and all of that stuff.
Show us some more. Matt says he loves your strip show in the back.
You are
stripping.
You're lifting your
Don't
shirt.
lift your shirt like that. Have you not seen the first comments in the chat?
I know we want super chats, but we don't want to go that
for
far.
a quick second as well, and they were there as well. So.
We're now also joined by
GJ.
Mr. Famous GJ from
Hello, you.
Out TV. Best
By the way,
for being best friends with
Out to see and Ding a Dong podcast.
I was in that
too.
audience. That audience was loud tonight.
What was loudest?
Ireland was actually the loudest in that audience. And it was really surprising to see how well that did, and how people that had no idea that it was coming really were taken in with it, and was just a moment of silent gasping after going, whoa, that's very impactful. By the way, fun fact, I think the first 6 out of 7 qualified, beating the myth of going you can't qualify if you're in the beginning of the semi-final. So that's good. So that's fun. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. Also, can we stop having journalists going up to people who've just qualified and go, hi, your staging is quite simple and basic. Why did you do that?
Who said that? Who said that?
Someone did that to Raiven from Slovenia. And I was like, listen, okay, I understand that sometimes English is not your first native language. Those are not the words to use to someone who has just qualified and
she was crying as well when she did it now.
So we shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. But what a show tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Yeah, but it was fun.
And then we do it all again tomorrow. The day after.
So how are you, Matt? I can't hear you because Gabe's hugging everything here. Has Gabe told you, by the way, that he crashed into a glass wall today, and I have the footage of it because he went skydiving?
Oh yeah, he's seen the gift. It's on Twitter. You can all go and see it. I have a bruise on this elbow. I don't know if you can see it.
I have way more footage, Matt. It's coming your way.
I have a bruise on this elbow because I clotted it rather. I have to. It's because I was busy trying to give GJ, Mel, and Roy the middle finger, and when I was attempting to, I then went flying sideways into a wall. It was. You'll all see it later.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Matt.
tell GJ that I saw it, and I've done the same thing indoor skydiving, and I
He
crashed
saw
to
it.
the
He's done
side.
the same thing. He crashed into the side.
And that is why I actually decided to jump out of an airplane, because that was less scary, jumping towards certain death or the possible death, than actually the glass thing. So I feel
Matt.
you gave this one.
Yeah. Matt, I have a question for you. What do you think about Bambie's statement we've just heard, that their messages that were on their face in the script and stuff like that said ceasefire had to be changed by request of the EBU today? The fact that they're able to speak on it in a press conference, I think, does speak to the fact that these artists are allowed to speak freely. That's a good thing, right?
Free-ish. There are limitations, but I'm glad there's some of that they give it that. I didn't see it, so what was she allowed to say?
They were allowed to, so they were asked that in the rehearsals, we've seen them where, I think it's called Cyrillic script. Ogham script. And it spelled ceasefire, and tonight, by the request of the EBU, it had to be changed to something else.
It said Crown the Witch, I believe.
I think it now said Crown the Witch. I do think it's very bold of Bambie then to state that as a fact in an EBU press conference, and I want to just applaud them for that.
Yes, I don't think it was
for that boldness.
Yeah, the EB. It was they had balls to do that. It was, I don't know if the EBU really wanted that to happen. So there might be consequence, I know, but I hope not. But no, I'm glad Bambie is
I
a
don't
little
think
bit
there will
more.
be.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we'll see. It will be more interesting this Thursday, because that's where things may happen.
And final thing before I go, loudest applause in the rundown for the artists that we'll be seeing on Thursday in the audience were Joost Klein and Angelina Mungo.
I noticed Joost. I couldn't tell, but this probably because these are two favorites, and these are mostly fans in the audience, right? So it's maybe a little deceiving because people who don't know the songs, they don't know what these artists will provide to us.
Joost is number 2 in Spotify here in Sweden, so I think general audiences may have caught on.
Oh,
so that
they
might
may know
be
it. Okay,
that may be a precursor to what we'll see in terms of points on Saturday, but it'll be fun. All right, I'm gonna leave you with Gabe, and I'll make sure he behaves for the rest of the week and that he runs his miles.
Yes,
Very
we
good.
need that. I cannot wait. That's a rehearsal I look forward to the most tomorrow. So
Exciting.
no
All right,
pressure.
guys,
Well,
see you
have a good
soon.
night, GJ. What?
He said see you soon, and then Matt said
See
have a
ya.
good night, GJ.
I will.
Matt, I
that's
should
you
say
too.
my battery is really low, and I don't have my charger with me. In
Yeah,
here.
I got to go as well.
You can borrow mine now if you want.
So
It's
we're
all- no,
going to
he's
call it
going
a
anyway.
night,
Oh,
y'all.
perfect.
We'll be back tomorrow though for the
Come here,
first
come here.
dress rehearsal. Hi. We're just about to head
It's
out.
just closing off, but you could just wave.
Um,
Yeah. So continue, Matt. We'll shut up.
Okay. We'll be back tomorrow for the first dress rehearsal, which is around 3:45, I want to say. I'll double check. I'll put that link up in a little bit. So make sure to join us when all the semi 2 artists will rehearse. And I hope to see you all there. And if not, we'll have a second show at 9 p.m., which will then be the jury show where the backup jurors will vote, and they will give 100% then. And we'll have a bunch of pictures for you so you can see that as well in more like visual terms. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. I know it's been a little hectic switching links and all that stuff, but I appreciate you hanging out with us and stick around. Have a good night, everyone. Say good night, Gabe. You're still on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, we're still on mute. Have a lovely night. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Good night from the press center. Bye now.
Fucking me.